Leaseback agreements are like this weird win-win dance, except one side is cash-strapped and the other side is opportunity-hungry. Imagine you sell your house but still live in it, just paying rent. That's the gist of it. Essentially, a leaseback lets the seller get cash up front while the buyer gets a guaranteed tenant. It's especially popular with businesses that need liquidity but don't want to stop operations. You see this happening a lot with banks, medical offices, and retail stores. But here's the kicker. If you aren't careful, you could end up paying way too much for rent in the long run. Or worse, your contract might lack renewal flexibility. It can quickly feel like a financial handcuff. So how does this work step by step? First, you sell your property, land, building, whatever, to an investor or buyer. Then you immediately rent it back for a pre-agreed monthly payment. Think of it as stepping out of homeownership and right into renter status. The biggest selling point? Liquidity. For businesses especially, this can free up a huge chunk of capital stuck in real estate. Let's say you sell your building for $2 million. You now have cash that can fund operations, expansion, or even pay off debt. For smaller business operators, it's like taking off a financial straitjacket. You turn illiquid equity into cash flow while still keeping your doors open. It's creative accounting that can save you during rough patches, but you need to know the math. One common pain point: loss of future appreciation. Let's say your property's value goes up by 20% in 5 years. That's value you'll never see. The buyer? They're the ones scoring that equity growth. It's something to think about. Another hidden snag: operating cost spikes. As a property owner, you control expenses like maintenance or upgrades. As a tenant, that's often baked into your lease agreement in the form of higher rent or triple net terms. Pro tip: always negotiate capped rent increases before signing anything. Some leasebacks include escalations annually. Don't let this be an afterthought. Keep your rent growth predictable so it doesn't become a silent profit killer down the road. Leaseback works great for investors too. It's stable, predictable income since tenants are usually locked in for 5, 10, or even 20 years. They don't have to hunt for tenants right away and often get long-term ROI from someone else's need for cash. But my advice? Approach leasebacks cautiously. They look good on paper, but agreements often favor the buyer. For sellers, this isn't a long-term fix. It's a short-term cash infusion. A Band-Aid, not a cure for cash flow problems. If you're thinking about trying this, take your time. Have an attorney review every line of the agreement. Don't sign something just because it sounds easy. Preventative work on the front end avoids financial regret on the back end. I know leasebacks look genius, and they can be, but there's risk baked in, like every financial move. Evaluate your options, stay cautious, and don't fall in love with the idea until you see the numbers make sense.